What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight! Okay, oh man, here we go. Making their debut on the channel tonight! We have Queensrÿche. Yes, indeed. How about that? Queensrÿche making their debut on the channel. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all of the clicks and the likes and the bibbidi-bobbidi-bop, do me a favor, before you do all that stuff, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Vintage Vibes Music, and this is actually one of Vintage Vibes Music's 3 prioritized requests for the month of July for being a gold tier member on the Patreon page. So, here you go, Vintage. Hope you enjoy the show, man. Vintage wanted to see me react to this. It is Queensrÿche with a live performance, remember that, with a live performance of a song called Take Hold of the Flame.
Ow! My biscuits are burning! Fire in the hatch! Oh, green hornet toads, that's smart!
Now, have I heard the song before? Full disclosure, yes. Yes, I have. I've heard the song quite a few times. It's definitely one of the songs that Queensrÿche is kind of known for. Well, prior to Empire. Well, prior to Operation Mindcrime, too. That's where I started my Queensrÿche journey, was on Operation Mindcrime. And I discovered that, and I loved it. It was, to this day, I think it still stands up as one of the best concept albums ever written. I think it told a fantastic story, and the music to boot was amazing. So I got that, and I was like, okay, let's see what else these guys have. So I went backwards, and I moved my way back up. And by the time I got back up to Operation Mindcrime, I think about 2 months later, Empire came out. I loved Empire too. After Empire, I lost interest in them. I forgot what the album was that came after Empire. I forgot the name of it. And I remember I listened to the album once. I was like, oh, I don't like where this is going. So I pretty much stopped following Queensrÿche after that. But everything prior to that album, from Empire back, loved everything they did. So yes, I am familiar with this song. Now, having said that, this is a live performance, and to the best of my knowledge, I haven't really seen a whole lot of live videos of Queensrÿche around. So I have not seen this live performance as far as I know. Now, that I could be wrong about that, but as far as I know, I haven't seen this. So full disclosure, not trying to be, deceptive or anything like that, not trying to deceive you guys. Full transparency here. I will not be reacting to the song itself in any way, shape, or form. I know the song. I've heard the song many times, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've never heard the song before. I will be basing my reaction, my evaluation, and my scoring completely on the live performance, the visual aspects, stage presence, stage energy, stage interaction, crowd interaction, showmanship, production. These are the 6 things I'm going to be looking for. I will take how well they play the song into account slightly, but it's very little. It's mostly like 98% visual, so please keep that in mind. Let's see, this was posted by Queensrÿche Bootlegs. Okay, so odds are I haven't seen this then. And the video has 1.4 million views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. 7, saw 7, there it is. 7, so I guess it's the 7th song of the performance here. Take Hold of the Flame, Queensrÿche live in Tokyo, 1984. Oh, we are going way back with this one. I guess August 5th, or is that May 8th? I don't know. Not sure about that part, but 84. We're going way back. Jeff's gonna look like a baby in this. Oh my God. I can't wait to see this. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
The next song is off our new album coming out soon. It's a song of hope. It's called Take Hold of the
Oh my
Flame.
God. He looks so young. Ah, the 80s. Those outfits. Ah, oh, man. Good place to say to pause. Okay. Oh, the 80s. What a time to be alive. It's okay. If I'm being honest, it's about what I was expecting. Okay. I was expecting this. I was expecting this level of showmanship, production. Actually, I take that back. Production's actually little more than I was for 84. Production's a little more than I thought it was going to be. But stage energy, yeah, I figured this would be about right. Stage interaction, I figured that'd be about right. Crowd interaction, I was actually, believe it or not, I was actually expecting a little bit more. But we're only halfway through, so we still got some time. As far as the song goes, yeah, I mean, I was expecting them to be playing the song like note for note exactly like it is on the album. So, you know, they've always been top-notch musicians as far as I remember. So I'm not surprised at all that they are playing the song as well as they are in a live setting. I mean, that doesn't shock me one bit. I made the comment, I kind of had to chuckle to myself about the outfits. Now here's the thing. It's a double-edged sword. By today's standards, the outfits that they're wearing, okay? Let's be honest here. Are they cheesy? Yeah, they're cheesy. Of course they're absolute cheese, okay? But remember, in the 80s, this was a thing. You know, it absolutely was. And even today, it maybe not to this extent like it was so prevalent back in the 80s, but even today, there is a certain level, not by every band, but by a number of bands, there is a certain level of attention that is put onto their appearance, okay? Here's the thing. I'm not saying this because I'm a fan of hair metal, because guys, I know, listen, I know I have long hair, okay, I get it, but believe it or not, I am not a hair metal fan. I'm really not. Bands like, you know, Poison, Warrant, I am just absolutely not a fan of any of those bands. Not in any way, except this one way. There's no doubt when you see bands like this that are dressed like this, there is absolutely no doubt in anyone's mind that that is the band. During the 90s and during the early 2000s, especially like mid to late 90s in particular, bands would go on stage wearing t-shirts and jeans, and you couldn't tell them apart from the roadies. They looked exactly the same. And to me, I've always appreciated when bands stood apart. You know, when bands were able to make themselves look like performers. You're going to be a performer, you should dress like a performer. You should look like a performer. And I know a lot of people are like, well, it's not about the look, it's about the band, it's about the musicianship. And listen, I'm not disagreeing with that statement. I'm not. The music is absolutely important, sure. But it just shows a certain level of pride when you have a band that goes out and they look like performers. You can't, I'm just not a fan of when bands go out there and you can't tell if they're the roadies or the band. You know, you can't tell. You know what I mean? It just kind of irks me when I see bands like that. I'm like, don't you guys have any pride in your product? I mean, come on. So anyway, I just had to chuckle though, because I was like, the 80s, what a time to be alive. Yes, indeed. Let's keep going here. Nice harmonies live. That sounds really clean. To be honest with you folks, it's about what I was expecting. I had a certain level of expectation going to this with my experience with Queensrÿche in the past, and expectations were met. Absolutely. So we're going to be in the positives. Now, were expectations exceeded? I need to think about that. I don't know. I don't know if they were exceeded or not. So let me give some thought to this. Let me gather my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Queensrÿche with a live performance of Take Hold of the Flame. This was a request from Vintage Vibes Music. And this was actually one of Vintage's 3 prioritized requests for the month of July for being a gold tier member on the Patreon page. So there you go, Vintage. I hope you enjoyed the show, man. Okay, before I give my score, I just need to reiterate this because not everybody listens to what I have to say at the beginning. Regarding this song, I said at the beginning, before I even started the reaction, I've heard this song before. I've heard this song several times. I was, at one point, a pretty big Queensrÿche fan back in the late 80s, early 90s. I discovered them with Operation Mindcrime. I worked my way backwards. I started at the very beginning, worked my way up to Operation Mindcrime. Then when Empire came out, I was a big fan of that album as well. Everything from Empire on back, I enjoyed. After Empire, I think the album was called Promised Land, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't a fan of that album. I listened to it once and I was like, no, I think it looks like they're going in a new direction. I'm not a fan of this direction. I don't like how it sounds. So I didn't listen to anything after that. And then I know they released a part 2 to Operation Mindcrime. I forgot what it was called. I think it was Operation Mindcrime 2. Very imaginative. I haven't heard it. I've been meaning to try to get around to that one, but I just haven't gotten there yet. But in any case, I've heard the song before several times. So I'm not taking the song into account here, okay? I'm not. The song is a complete non-factor. Because I know the song, and if I were to sit here and try to pretend like I've never heard the song, I'd be lying to you guys. And I'm not going to insult your intelligence, guys. You guys are smart people, and I'm not going to try to sit here and pretend like, oh, I've never heard the song before. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. So I'm not taking the song into account at all, okay? It's a non-factor. I am basing this evaluation and score completely on the live performance. Stage presence, stage energy, stage interaction, crowd interaction, showmanship, and production. That's it. I will be taking how well they play the song in a live performance into account slightly, like maybe 2% of the score is going to go to that. The rest of it's all based on visuals, so please keep that in mind, okay? All right, having said all of that, let's get to the score here. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that live performance a 7.7. Yep. 7.7. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay, first things first, a 7.7. What does that mean? Well, a 7.7 would translate to a really good scale rating, so I think this was a really good live performance. It would translate to 4 out of 5 stars and a B+ letter grade. So there you go. A 7.7, really good scale rating, 4 out of 5 stars and a B+ letter grade. Now, how did I come up with this score? Haha! So glad you asked. I'm going to just get this out of the way. Okay, I'm going to get this first factor out of the way. How well did they play the song? My expectations were absolutely met there. Queensrÿche is one of those bands where they will play the song note for note, beat for beat, tone for tone, word for word, exactly how it is on the album in a live setting. So when I heard them playing the song live, was I surprised? No. I wasn't surprised one bit. To be honest with you, I expected them to play the song as well as they did. And they absolutely delivered. So I have absolutely no quarrels or problems or complaints about that at all. They nailed the song in a live setting, okay? So you got your 2% there, okay? Nailed it. I got no issue with it. From a live performance standpoint, let's go down the checklist. Let's see how many boxes they checked. Let's see if they checked them all. Maybe they didn't. Let's see. Stage presence, check. Yeah, absolutely. The minute the performance started, they made their presence felt. They didn't just stand there in the back like a bunch of trees and just, try to hide, like I've seen other bands do. No, they were up front, they were flamboyant, and I loved everything about it. So yes, definitely made their stage presence felt. Stage energy, check. I will absolutely give it the check. Could there have been more? Yes. There absolutely could have been more, but what they did was just fine. I had a certain level of expectation going into this. They met the expectation, so no problems there. Stage interaction, check. Now, this one was a little surprising. I had a certain level of expectation for this, and I'm actually really glad to say that it was just slightly exceeded. Just like that much, but it's still better than what I was expecting. So yeah, stage interaction was definitely there. It was there more than I thought it was gonna be. I saw Jeff go back and interact with the drummer more times than I was expecting. Guitar player and bass player sharing the mic. I saw that. I consider that stage interaction, absolutely, especially when I saw 3 mics on stands, so they all have their own mics, but they came together and shared a mic. That is stage interaction, absolutely, so I counted that. Let's see, what was next? Okay, crowd interaction. I'm gonna give it the check, absolutely. It gets the check. And I will say, to some extent, expectation was met. I wish there had been a little bit more. I think Jeff did a fine job. I think Jeff did a fine job. Every time he would put out to the crowd, I was like, okay, good, that's good. He put out to the crowd again, okay, that's good. My only complaint about Jeff's crowd interaction is whenever he would put out to the crowd, he was this is a double-edged sword here. He was always pointing to the people way in the back, or way up in the rafters. He was always pointing to those people. I never really saw him point to the people right in front of him. Now listen, I am always a big proponent of engaging everybody in the crowd, including the people in the back, including the people up in the rafters. Yes, absolutely. Engage with them, but don't forget about the people up at the front either, Now, Jeff did the exact opposite of what a lot of lead vocalists do. Lead vocals will quite often pay attention to the people in the front, and that's it. They will focus on the front people, and they will basically completely ignore everybody out there in the cheap seats. And I always have a problem with that. Jeff did the exact opposite. He got everybody, he got 3/4 of the crowd. People in the back, people up in the top, people in the middle, and he kind of neglected the people up at the front. So, if you're looking at numbers, most lead singers will, they'll get 25% of the crowd, the ones that he can see up at the front. Jeff got 75% of the crowd. So I will definitely give him the edge for sure on that. I will absolutely check the box for crowd interaction. I just wish he had engaged the people at the front just a little bit. It would have been nice to have seen a little more balance. But that's okay. He's still engaged the crowd, so I'm giving it the check. Showmanship. Check. I'll give it a check. This kind of goes back to the stage energy thing. Moving around, interacting with each other, constantly staying in a state of motion. Nobody ever sat down, thank goodness. Even when they didn't need to move around, everybody was moving pretty much at all times. And I definitely enjoyed seeing that. They put on a good show. They put on a good live spectacle. And that was nice. And I'm not expecting a whole bunch of, acrobatics and stuff like that. No, I love it. I'll always go back to this quote. What do you expect? You say you want to see him getting shot out of a cannon? No, I'm not expecting people to be shot out of a cannon. This is what I'm expecting right here. I'm expecting movement. I'm expecting motion. I'm expecting people to pick up their feet and move them and care about their overall production and care about their overall product. So I definitely appreciate the showmanship there. And lastly, production. Now, I know this is a little bit of a stretch, and I will fully acknowledge that this is a little bit of a stretch, but I am going to give production a check. The lighting was okay. I had no issue with the lighting. The lighting was appropriate, but the production for me was their outfits. And I know back in the 80s, this is a thing. The 80s, what a time to be alive, boy. It really was. It was a different era. But, they looked the part. They looked like rock stars. They looked like performers. They didn't look like roadies. So they clearly had, some passion and some effort put into how they look, their appearance. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to count that as production. Absolutely, I will. And to some extent, I'll even count it as showmanship because it goes along with the show. So, yeah, I got no issue with it whatsoever, and I will give it that check. So here's how it boils down to. Everything evened out, okay? The crowd interaction, it was there. It wasn't quite as much as I would have liked it, but at the same time, the stage interaction was a little bit more than I thought it was going to be, and so was the production. So this is how we're ending up at a 7.7. I thought they did a really good job overall, okay? I was also really pleasantly surprised to see that I hadn't seen this live performance before. 1984. Wow, going way back. Man, Jeff, God. Wow. I mean, the whole band looked young, but Jeff in particular really looked like a baby face there. It was great to see that. Great to see them in their I don't know if I would call it their infancy, but they definitely were in their younger stages. So that was really cool to see too. So yeah, 7.7, I feel good with that score, and that's where we're gonna stay. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We got a 7.7, which is a really good scale rating, 4 to 5 stars, and a B+ letter grade. Take your pick, I don't care, whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hopefully I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.